Well, today is the 20th of March. It's 5:30 p.m. The Democrats want to lower the voting age to 16. I just, every day I hear something out of these people's mouths, and it's just the most asinine stuff I've ever heard. I watched one political pundit representing Democratic thought, or the thoughts of the Democrats, I should say, about saying, well, you're old enough to work at 16, they pay taxes, so they should have a say. Well, here's the deal with this. Typically, not all states do this, but I don't know. Well, if you're registered to vote, you are also eligible for jury duty. Now, I don't know how many people watching this ever done jury duty. I've done jury duty a couple times, actually. It's a huge pain in the ass for a working person, particularly if you can't really afford to take the time off, right? And if you get picked to serve on a jury, you could be tied up. Particularly if it's an important trial, you might be tied up for a week, a couple days, week, 2 weeks. I think there was one trial several years ago involving a preschool or daycare center in California that was accused of molesting the kids. I think that went on for like 2 years. What a nightmare that was. Can you imagine that? A 2-year trial, and you're stuck there having to deal with that, and then there's, being sequestered in case it's a really important trial. So what are you going to do? You're going to start pulling 16-year-olds out of school? Do you really think they're going to pull 16-year-olds out of high school to serve on a jury? That's just asinine. They're not going to do that. Particularly, it's public school. They get paid for every child that's in school. They are not going to remove children out of school so they could serve on a jury. And here's the other point with this. Let's say you have a trial. Let's say it's a DUI. That's something that's pretty common. It's a DUI. Driving under influence. It's not, or driving while intoxicated. There's two of them. There's DWI, DUI, whatever. Do you want a 16-year-old kid on your jury? I mean, I'm not impressed with 16-year-olds. I haven't met too many I've been impressed with. I've met a few young people. I've met a few teenagers over the last couple years that I would say, hey, I'm impressed. One in particular, a friend of mine named Bernie, whose teenagers are exceptional. I mean exceptional. Extremely impressive. But that is not what I would call the norm. I mean, for every one that was like this young man, there's 15 that are completely like crackerbox. And I don't want to be insulting. I've got nieces that are one that's almost going to be 16, one that just turned 17. But I remember 16 years old, particularly these young females, they're all hormone ridden, boy crazy. They're going to serve on a jury? Do you really think that they are capable or mature enough to serve on a jury? So basically what this really has to do with, you want them to vote. You think they're old enough and educated enough to vote and make a good decision with voting. But you aren't going to put them on a jury. There's no way you're putting them on a jury. What lawyer in his right mind would put 16-year-olds, 17-year-olds on a jury? Think about this. They're not going to do this. They're just not. I wouldn't want a 16-year-old jury Are you kidding me? You're going to give them phone withdrawal. Can you imagine that? You imagine a kid, a 16-year-old sitting on a jury without his phone or her phone for a week, 2 days? Can you imagine the insanity? They're going to go through withdrawal. This just proves once again how crazy liberals are. They are so desperate to get young, impressionable minds because these kids are stupid. I'm sorry if you got teenagers. Maybe you should, if you think they are. Come on, let's be honest. They don't know shit. They haven't even begun to live life yet. They don't know shit. They haven't been stomped on. They haven't been fired from jobs. They don't. If they're fortunate enough to have their heart broken, you know what it is? They want to run out and commit suicide. This is the only person I'll ever love. I want to die. I'm going to kill myself. This is what you want to serve on a jury. This is what you want voting? Really? I mean, every time these Democrats come up with some stupid plan, it just amazes me. What have we become as a nation? Where have we sunk to? I mean, this is just, it boggles my mind. It really, really does, how pathetic they have become. And it really is more about trying to get more voters because they know and they understand that am I talking on my ass here, or is it just me, or do other people feel this way? I mean, I'm at a point where I think the country is lost regardless, and I don't think there's any way of saving it. I don't think it's ever going to. It's not going to be saved. It's going to decline to the point where you have this kind of insanity. So what makes you want to stop at 16? Why not 15? Why not 14? We're going to agree at 16? Look, if you ever taught a 15-year-old to drive a vehicle, that's hair-raising enough. I've taught 2 of them how to drive. I've taught two young ladies, 2 teenagers to drive. That was, their own parents were too paranoid to teach them to drive. They couldn't handle it. So I had to step in as an uncle because I was able to handle that. And it's a little hair-raising. I mean, let's be honest. If you ever put the kid in the car, in the driver's seat, it's a little hair-raising. And you want them to vote? They aren't smart enough to vote. Honestly, I even wonder if 18-year-olds are smart enough to vote, to be quite honest with you. But you're legally an adult. You're legally considered an adult at 18. Now, I don't understand this. The drinking age in the state of Illinois used to be 18, but it isn't anymore. They changed it to 21. Somebody like 79 or 80, somewhere around there, they changed it to 21. Because they determined that 18-year-olds aren't smart enough to be able to handle their alcohol. And look, I ain't innocent. I mean, I was pounding back some beers, I think, when I was 13 years old. I was a freshman. I was a freshman in high school. But I was done with that crap by the time I was 17. But a lot of people aren't. So I just, putting the future of the country in the hands of 16-year-olds is not just foolishness, it's recklessness. It's absolutely insane, inane, crazy, mental, and excuse the term that nobody wants to use anymore, but retarded. It's just retarded. It's unbelievable. Oh, every day. Just, I hate liberals. I just hate it. The whole ideology of it is just insanity. It's based on insanity. There's more than 2 genders. There's more than, I mean, come on, every day there's something new coming out of their mouths that defy logic, defy reason, defy science. Every day. But remember that climate change is real. And remember that the world's going to come to an end because the climate is going to change. Never forget that, because that's liberals with their science. Give me a break.